Good evening, viewers. Marcus Diaz here, bringing you another episode of the Ghost Train. Our schedule's been a little wonky, so we really haven't been on. I think it's been like 10 days, but here we are, and we're here to talk about storm chasing stuff and letting you guys get inside the minds of a chaser. We will be doing our Q&A thing. If you have a Gmail account, it should be popped up here on your live stream. If you're watching live, if you're not watching live, I'm not going to get your questions, so don't do it. But there it is right there. If you want to ask us questions during the show, we'll be more than happy to answer them for you. So let's go ahead and meet who we got on the show today. Ben Holcomb joins us once again. What's up, Ben?
Hey, how are you guys? And my cat wants to say hi too, so.
Yeah, we heard that. Also, I have Adam Lucio joining us again.
How's it going?
Pretty good, not too bad. Hot as shit, but okay, whatever. It is late June, so I should expect that. I had to turn my AC off because apparently the AC is coming into the microphone, so I'm kind of slowly cooking in my house right now, but I'm sure I'll be all right. So yeah, we were all just kind of gawking at some footage before we went on air. Colby Martin had some really great footage from eastern Missouri of a tornado. It's great footage. You see the little suction vortices crossing the highway in front of them, almost blow over two semis right in front of them. And actually, a semi actually drove into the ditch to kind of, I guess, shelter himself because that's going to help. But yeah, that's some crazy footage, and good job that it's what, June 28th. You're still scoring this late in the year. That's always cool. So that's kind of one thing I wanted to talk about, and actually Ben brought it up earlier, is about how people are just shutting down already with the chase season, I agree it is kind of coming down in intensity, not as many setups, so there's not a whole lot of reason to go out, but there's still going to be plenty of setups out there, and especially in July, way up in the northern plains, or hey, if you got your passport, you can jump up to Canada. But go ahead and talk about that, Ben. How you were telling me that people are just shutting down a little early, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the pattern is not conducive to severe weather here over the southern half of Tornado Alley, but I mean, we had a pretty good event on Monday, and for me personally here in Norman, and out of PTO, and not really out of money, but out of money. I'm to the point this year where unless it's something really, really good, it's going to be hard to get me up and out of, here to go chase way up north. I mean, there's still obviously a chance that we get, some decent storms down here south again. We always seem to have at least one good straight line wind or shelf cloud event here in the summer, and the Panhandle ends up having thunderstorms, and once in a while you get supercells because you get enough shear. But for the most part, I think a lot of the Southern Plains has slowed down. But now it's time for Northern Plains and Canada to take off. And today there's tornadoes just north of St. Louis, and yesterday was North Dakota. So there's definitely tornadoes out there to be seen. It's in contrast to the last couple of years where other than a few days in June last year, or if somehow you were following the updraft Felicity and saw a carrot on July 4th weekend, there wasn't much to be seen over the summer last year.
Yeah, and one big advantage of chasing this time of year, if you do chase, is the crowds are obviously a lot thinner because, like I said, a lot of people are shutting down, and people run out of money and run out of time off from work. So, it's totally understandable why a lot of people do go ahead and shut down, but there's still plenty of setups.
I will say last year on, I guess it was June 29th, I was in Iowa for a moderate risk, and traffic was some of the worst I saw of the year last year. But I think that was a little bit different. We were all still had money in PTO because nothing else was going on, and it was on a Saturday, so that helps.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people were kind of desperate. There wasn't really too much to see before that.
I know I was.
So what about you, Adam? What do you think about that? About this time of year for chasing?
Well, it's the the natural progression of things. I always tell people traditional chase season, as I call it, typically shuts down, between June 20th and June 25th. A lot of times, my last chase always seems to fall right in that date, and this year is no different. Of course, you're always going to have random setups throughout the entire summer, and then the fall comes around, but the other, as you guys mentioned, a lot of people, they use up their financial resources and time off work because you want to focus on the bulk of the season. The other part of that is setups are harder to forecast this time of year. You don't have big troughs plowing in that you can see 5 days out, 5 to even 7, 10 days out on the models. And when it's April and May, the 10-day GFS will show a huge trough coming in, and you can start thinking in your head, "Oh, got to move some work around," things like that. This time of the year, that's not the case. This year is so much slower that a lot of these events, they don't really start to come together until the morning of. Kind of like today's. That's one reason I wasn't out there. We've got tornadoes going on near St. Louis. Colby Martin, again, props to him, got shot some really good video just probably no more than an hour ago. By the time I realized, this event might actually be something worth chasing, I was already out of range. It'd take me 5 hours to get down there. I would have missed everything. It just didn't fall close enough into my backyard for me to be able to go out there and get it. And that has a lot to do with it this time of year, I think. Driving up to North Dakota for a 5% risk is taxing for a lot of people. But, those events, they do pan out. So, sometimes you just got to cherry pick an event and go for it and hope it happens. Chasing itself becomes a lot harder this time of year, but it's far more rewarding if you're able to get out and score some what I call off-season catches.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but it always seems like this year, this time of year, a lot of the tornadoes are, for the most part, almost photogenic. As long as they're not too far to the east where they really get into some really deep moisture. You have those dews that can just do enough of the job up north, and usually, this time of year, there's a good sweeping westerly mid-level flow up in the northern plains that's just kind of like an everyday thing, and all you need is the moisture and some good back low levels, and you should have some good supercells up there. So, um, yeah, very hard to forecast, and usually, North Dakota is a far drive for almost everybody that lives in this area. I know even you living in Chicago, Adam, it's got to be what, 12 hours or something like that just to get to North Dakota?
Yeah, it's actually not bad. It takes me the same amount of time to get to Fargo as it does to Oklahoma City. So for me, it's not necessarily an issue of time, but as I mentioned, the setups don't present themselves far enough in advance to move life around. Typically this time of year, it's harder to forecast a good chase day when you're working with 30 knots of 500 millibar flow. It's kind of like, yeah, it's possible, but is this going to be the 1 in 20 setup that does it? Because you get these setups just about every day in the summer. 1 out of 20 of them will produce something great. The rest, you're just going to get outflowy shelf clouds. Right. So it's a lot harder to sniff out those quality chase days this time of year. So you either have to have all the time or all the money in the world to just be able to go out there and chase everything. More so this time of year than in traditional season, because you're going to get tornadoes March, April, May, and first half of June. That's a given in any year. This time of year, the summer season and the fall season is never a guarantee. Some years you have great events, other years you just get totally nothing. So that always weighs into it.
Yeah, and of course this time of year we have that big oppressive high pressure that usually builds down here. Kind of restricts this area for any good setup. So
I love that ridge of high pressure because we get what we call the ring of fire up here. When you guys are baking your brains out down there, we're enjoying the best lightning shows you can ever imagine. Ride that ridge of high pressure, and it's just night after night of constant explosions out my window. I love it. I love our good ring of fire pattern.
Well, and that pattern is kind of what you look for. A lot of tornado events that kind of happen up in the Dakotas that no one even sees because how the heck do you forecast that? You'll notice there's usually a good high pressure in the central plains, and then on the northern periphery that you got those westerly 500s that really help out up there. So that's just one thing to look for. And yeah, I mean, you guys, you kind of get what you get that ring of fire that just all you need out there is that warm front or some sort of boundary, and you guys are pretty much set. So.
Yeah,
Um,
this time of year, it's a lot of stationary fronts and outflow boundaries. So the tornadoes are a lot more mesoscale driven this time of year than they are, synoptically driven like you get earlier in the spring.
yeah, that's the kind of deal where you don't even think about forecasting until the morning of.
Right,
So
and that makes it a lot harder just to be able to get out there. The setup has to be pretty close and convenient for you in order to be able to have a shot at it. And today's was just out of range for me.
Yeah. Well, it was in range. You just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it at 10 a.m. and I'm like, there's a chance, but it looked like it was centering in Missouri, and I was like, I really want to go fight the jungles for, 5% maybe northwest flow gamble, and turned out today was one of those ones that just came together better than originally expected. SPC
yeah,
upgraded to 10%, and by 2 o'clock it was like, oh crap, there's actually going to be tornadoes today, but I had no chance to make it down to where I would have needed to be. So that's just the way it happens sometimes. If it was in Central Illinois, I would have been leaving my house at 3 in the afternoon for a last minute chase and would have had a good day. But today's was just a little bit too far out of range to make that last minute call.
Russo. Let's try
yeah, I mean,
to be on the show.
oh, he could be on the show. That's cool.
And you have that in addition too. You get your northwest flow setups around here this time of year. What happened today is not uncommon. So
Right.
that's kind of another thing another type of setup we can look for to get some off-season chase days.
Yeah, the whole reason why today actually produced is because, last night it was looking like Iowa, and then Iowa decided nah, and so that's why it produced. If this
Right?
setup was in Iowa, it wouldn't have happened.
Right? That's how it goes.
Speaking
It
of
really,
Iowa, there was a lot of people baited to Iowa on Monday.
I was gonna say, I mean, what is it with? I mean, the curse of Iowa is very existent, and this year there's been several setups that have kind of uh, bullseyed themselves in Iowa, and a lot of people got baited to it. I mean, I hate to bring up old wounds, but Adam, you got baited out there for April 8th. That was supposedly going to be the big Iowa day, but never did pan out too well. So
Wednesday
um,
was and I'm still not really sure. I mean, obviously, storm mode was not favorable for tornadic supercells on Wednesday once things blew up. But looking at the 0Z OAX sounding Omaha, it was quite an impressive sounding, I have to say. I'm really not sure why a day like that didn't end up blowing up discrete supercells, with huge tornadoes. I think part of it was the storm motion was, or the flow was rather parallel to the boundary. The boundary was sitting east-west, and you're kind of in a zonal flow pattern, especially the further west you got. And we probably would have done a little bit better had it been a northwest flow, because then you would have gotten more boundary perpendicular flow. So that caused all the storms to blow up basically right along that stationary front, or the warm front, I guess. It was moving northward. Some impressive STP values, impressive CAPE. I actually was really thinking Adam was going to see a big tornado, and I was going to spit in his drink the next time I saw him.
For a moment there, I thought it was going to happen. I don't know. I don't exactly know how that day failed the way it did. My guess, I think the boundary itself didn't behave in a favorable way. I think it either outran the storms or sunk back south. My first thought was the boundary outran the storms after they formed on it, because that boundary was moving north pretty quickly.
Right.
But then, I mean, that was a nice, juicy, warm sector, so I'm surprised the storms went outflow dominant so fast. I would have thought they would have been able to sustain themselves a little while longer. So, something to go back and look for to figure out why the hell that day failed the way it did. I mean, it was almost a carbon copy of Monday's setup. The shear was a little bit less, and as you said, we didn't have a slight northwesterly component that we did on Monday, but very, very minor differences. But I guess it was just enough to tip the scale.
Yeah, and if you go back and look at the Omaha sounding, I mean, mid-level lapse rates were 7.3, or 7.6, whatever you want to use. I usually use the 3 to 6 kilometer for mid levels.
Mhm.
And surface-based cape was over 6,000, which to me is actually probably a little bit high. I don't like to really see stuff over 5,000 or 5,500.
Yeah.
See tornadic supercells usually, you get 6,000 or above, and you get linear modes, because everything seems to blow up at once, which
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of seems to be what happened. But yeah, I don't know. It was definitely one of those days worth gambling on, and fortunately for me, unfortunately for Adam, it didn't pan out.
Well,
So,
well, that's the game. When the ingredients are in place, you chase. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It was too
yeah.
close. It was too close not to try. I wouldn't have driven down to Texas for that setup, but it was in Iowa, so you have to try.
If it had been on a Saturday, you bet I would have driven up for it. So,
Well, yeah, you have to try.
yeah, I mean, you have to try. And from that OAX sounding supercell composite of 76, STP of effective layer of 10.6, 0 to 1 helicity of 242. That's with a right motion just a little bit south of east. And yeah, I mean, that was a heck of a day. And you contrast it with Monday, and as Adam said, similar setups. I don't remember exactly what the cape was on the Davenport sounding here. I'm trying to look it up here while we talk. But yeah, I mean, the Davenport sounding was not nearly as impressive. It was about 2,500 cape, but a surface to 1 helicity of 431. The storms were spinning quite well, and Adam and I both kind of had the same thought there on Monday, that we'd hang out kind of central, or we ended up a little bit western northern Illinois there, which ended up being okay because the storm started in Iowa and came across the border. Adam and I both kind of learned some lessons from June 5th, 2010. We sat under basically anvil blow off all day from the morning convection, and I kind of thought the morning convection had ruined the day. It came through so late. There was a cold pool, or a cool pool. I don't really think it was a cold pool as much, sitting over northern Illinois and Wisconsin, with basically a reinforced outflow boundary / warm front, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. Sitting right along I-80 most of the day, and I made the call to pretty early in the morning to bail from Michigan and head down to Illinois. And I met up with Adam in Western Illinois, and we sat around, and I left him for a little while, went and played some video poker in a gas station, and did not do so well. Only lost $20 though. And then we both went and got on the same storm, and I saw Adam a couple times, during the chase, but Bart and I drove up. Adam was in the cage, and there was tornado basically in the field. I don't know, what'd you say, half mile, 3/4 mile north, and it was heading for us. And I didn't realize that immediately, but pretty quickly it became obvious that it wasn't moving to the right. So we come out of the rain, and we see one other car there. I'm like, well, that's got to be Adam. And Bart's like, I don't know, it looks like a truck. I'm like, no, that's Adam. And sure enough, it was Adam, and we were a couple of idiots, and drove down the road right next to a tornado, and got cut off by the debris, and stuck with the storm for a while. I think you ended up seeing another possible tornado later on, but the storm produced 10 tornadoes, so it was a pretty good way to end what I would call my season. Barring anything amazing, I don't see myself chasing again here soon. So, that was probably my last chase for a while. I was able to Bart drove me home, and I made it to work the next morning in Norman. So it was a grind.
Yeah, so let's talk about this setup real quick. This was June 22nd. It was on a Monday, and this was
Yes.
the biggest kind of trolley looking setup because the biggest thing that split your targets was Lake Michigan, at least the day before.
Yeah.
Everyone was. It was a big game of where you gonna go. You're gonna hope for the best in Wisconsin and hope that the storms, don't uh, or actually grow quickly and produce quickly, or do you wait in Michigan before, as they mature over the lake? Um, I don't think anyone chose Michigan, to be
I did.
honest.
I did.
Oh, that's right. You guys made it to Michigan, but y'all went back into Illinois pretty quick, right?
Yeah, well, so Sunday I did decide on Michigan. There's a couple reasons for that. The low pressure was probably to basically go over Lake Superior, and the NAM had all the winds in Wisconsin veering throughout the day, surface winds, and I was not very impressed with that. As in terms of tornadoes, I mean, even east of the Mississippi, you still need at least a southerly component to winds, and most of those were southwest or so. So I was liking Michigan better. I mean, it also helped that it was Father's Day, and I was able to go say hi to my dad. Um, but I really thought there was a good chance that there could be a big tornado in Michigan, and I didn't really want to take the chance of missing something big, and with the lake in the way, it really makes it hard to target Wisconsin. So I mean, part of it was sentimental. Part of it was, I thought that had the better chance of it. The better dynamics seemingly from the models came in, right around 0Z. In actuality, the jet seemed to lag a little bit. If you looked at water vapor throughout the day, the jet and all the short waves with it seemed to be a little bit to the west of where they should have been. So that was one of the reasons why I thought, well, maybe we need to go to Illinois, and so Bart and I made that decision pretty early in the day to at least get south, to where we could choose one or the other, and I knew the choice was pretty obvious when you have an MCS racing across Iowa at 10 o'clock in the morning with tornado warnings. Yeah, it's everything to the east of that is pretty toast. So we ended up seeing the tornado south of it though. So it was a good day.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty decent day. I was, I had done a little 6 day stint before that, and I had to be back Monday. But I was really thinking about not coming back and actually chasing that. But I really wouldn't have been out of a job then. I guess it doesn't matter now. I guess I could have, but
Yeah, it didn't
I would.
matter. Really, the thing I'm really sad about missing, I mean, we chased in Iowa on Saturday, and we ended up seeing an EF1 tornado. I think Adam and I both saw it. I still need to go through my footage and stuff, but I definitely saw the funnel. But I think Sunday it was. Yeah, it was Sunday. There was some extremely photogenic tornadoes in where was that? South Dakota, North Dakota? I think it was South Dakota.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Gene Moore, props to Gene Moore. He got some of the best stuff I've ever seen from him or from anybody really. His photos were, I mean, absolutely amazing. So I was a little bit bummed we missed that. But then again, I really wasn't looking at South Dakota the whole weekend. Sunday I was at one point looking at southeast Nebraska or northwest Missouri, and that remained cat most of the day. So we do have Bart here as well. You have to go grab a chair.
Hey there. Yeah, speaking of Gene, all right, awesome props for him. Not only did he score that tornado in South Dakota, but then he got some of the best pics of the Aurora that I've seen out of everyone at the pick. So that would have been awesome, man.
Yeah, and I am a little bit sad that we didn't get to stay for the Aurora. Like I said, we had a long grind back to Norman. I just, I really need to keep my PTO time that I have, I needed to keep it for. What are you doing, Bart?
I'm just improving the background. I noticed it kind of looked a little crappy back there, so I thought I'd help out.
Anyways, I need to keep my PTO time because I'm going to Alaska next month, and I'd still like to go to Alaska, and seeing the aurora would have been cool, but I'm going to Finland in the fall, so hopefully I can see it there. And but yeah, the aurora NATO, that's a new one. That's like Quake NATO.
But better.
Yeah. So yeah, like people were seeing. Was it the same day? Was it Monday? Right, the 22nd.
Yeah, it was Monday night. Monday night was the great auroras.
So there was some people that were lucky enough to see the tornadoes and then get north and see some auroras. So screw those guys.
Yeah.
Well, luckily one of them was Stephen Jones, and he doesn't understand how to control the exposure on his shot, so all of those were blown out.
Were they really?
Oh yeah. But
Hashtag art.
Hashtag art.
Oh
That's
man.
pretty funny. I'm glad to hear that.
Like the whole bottom half is just bright yellow bloom. It's pretty awesome.
Oh.
Yep.
No, did y'all see that one picture from Gene where like it was like the edge of the aurora was right overhead?
I stopped following Gene Moore this last week because he won 2015, and I was getting kind of sad.
We love you, by the way, Gene, but we were about to cry.
Oh yeah, between the tornadoes that he got in the Dakotas, the aurora, he could probably quit chasing and have a successful rest of his life.
He got the badass shot of the comet earlier this year too, I think, didn't he?
Probably.
He had a real badass comet picture.
Comet Lovejoy when that was
If it happened, he was there this year. And real secret about it too. Like he'd slip in under the radar, and next thing you know, you see photos, and you're like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
looking through some of his holy
my
cow!
God.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And we're looking at through some of his
Screenshot that.
photo right. Yeah, that's what I was just doing right
we
now.
done messed up.
Yeah.
Probably.
We didn't do things right, but look at that. That's pretty impressive right there.
That's the picture I'm talking about. Where like, you can see like the stars in the sky on one side and the aurora on the other. And
Oh, I know.
Anytime you get a KP value as high as that is, one thing about the aurora is that it gets extremely tall, and so, while normally under a solar storm you get just the green hues like that, a storm as strong as this one, which I think it was a borderline G3, almost G4, your aurora gets substantially taller, and then you get into the higher levels where you get more oxygen, and that's what causes those reds. And it's something that, even with some of the previous solar storms that we've had during the solar cycle, I think only once or twice have we had it where it's been able to produce the color range that this one did.
And here's Gene's tornado from the 21st, last Sunday. So
yeah.
This is just.
That's not even his best shot from that day. I mean, he's got better ones. It's insane.
It's not. That one's pretty good.
There's tempo.
Yeah, I mean he saw some pretty amazing stuff here. Let's go through. Oh yeah, hey, look at all of his aurora shots that are in the way. This one's pretty darn good too.
I think the only solace we can take in all of this is that he missed the amazing North Dakota tornadoes that happened over the weekend.
I know those tornadoes over the weekend don't compare to that. So
I haven't seen those. I've purposely been keeping away. I just saw the storm reports and like the long trail of red, meaning that there was an amazing storm that I missed.
Yeah. Well, Bill Doms, there's a cool picture. We were looking at it here before we went on the air of Bill Doms with a tornado behind him here. Let me see if I can find it.
He had really good pictures of that.
Yeah.
They actually.
Let me screen share this one too, because this is Bill Doms in the foreground and one hell of a tornado in the background. So.
And I'm assuming that was yesterday.
Yeah. This was yesterday. So. Look at that, and thanks to Amanda Hill for taking that photo.
The video was pretty good too.
Yeah, I haven't seen his video yet, so for a season that's already over, what a heck of a last 10 days.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and Bill, they followed that. They were all the way up on the Canadian border.
Yeah, they
followed
the U.S.
Yeah,
jackasses.
Maybe on my Canada trip I'll get lucky, and then you guys can all be jealous and.
Hi, Adam. We can see your fingers, by the way.
You need to really work on that pedicure that you got there, man. I know you Illinois guys are a little backwards up there, but I'd like to mention one thing. So I got to go to that weird state back there last week, and man, I'm surprised they know what shoes and plumbing are like up there. Holy crap! Nobody from the north can give Oklahoma crap about anything ever again. I'm just saying. They don't know what an LED light is. They don't know how to put stoplights on poles. People are driving like cars were just brought to them yesterday, which I know isn't true because that's where most of them are made. So,
or used to be made.
Or used to be made. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they've gone so long and they're just slowly coming back out of their slump.
Yeah, Bart's first impressions of Michigan were not good.
I really enjoyed the 400 miles of barrels for like a 200 section of road that was being resurfaced. that was my favorite part.
So Bart did get to see an authentic beach volleyball going on in St. Joseph, Michigan, though. So.
Yeah, supposedly there's a lighthouse or something behind it that I was really supposed to be looking at, but there were things distracting me.
But I think most of those things were from Chicago.
Yeah, that was St. Joseph. That's close enough. It's like right across the border. Any further than that, they probably need RoboCop to escort them.
All right, so let's talk about, since we've all had our long hauls this year, let's talk about long hauls. Yeah, you just kind of wish they were over, but you just really hope that it's all worth it, I guess, in the end. I did 2,500 miles in 6 days a couple weeks ago. Luckily, that's all I did because there was 3 days in a row I stayed the night in the same freaking town. So, that worked out for us, but usually it doesn't go that well. Usually in 6 days you're pushing 4,000 miles or so. But still, it's quite a different experience. A lot of chasers probably don't. A lot of noobs, I should say, probably don't understand the long hauls. A lot of people probably haven't even gone within 200 miles from their home. So let's kind of talk about that. Let's talk about these long hauls. What does it take mentally to get through it? Physically, I mean, how do you prepare for it? How do you deal with it? How do you stay awake? Because that's my biggest problem, is staying awake that whole time. So
Red Bull.
Red Bull was our savior on that trip.
Yeah. So Bart actually made a post. 72 hours. We went 17 states, 17 different interstates, 2,370 miles, and saw at least tornadoes, or at least 2 tornadoes, and got in at least one of them probably. And apparently I like Nickelback.
Well.
So with that, we left Friday night, last Friday night, and I don't know, what was it, about midnight?
I think the most astonishing accomplishment of that whole chase was the fact that neither one of us gassed each other out until like the very end when we were coming into Oklahoma.
I got you pretty good.
But I don't know, some of those burps for that Frisco burger though got you.
But no, we left Oklahoma Friday night. I was probably almost 1 a.m. before we left your apartment, I think.
Yeah, and just drove straight up to Wichita.
Yeah, we stayed the night in Wichita and then made it up to Iowa for chasing on Saturday, which, it was under expectations, but it wasn't the worst chase I had this year.
And supposedly we saw a tornado, according to the Weather Service. We saw like a brief funnel, and then Weather Service survey said it was an EF1. Lucio was there. He was... Yeah. It may have actually just been he farted or something in the vicinity and it knocked some trees down.
Could have been. Well, I was driving under the leading edge of that thing, and the wind was really intense. All the trees started flying around me, and I'm like, okay. And I looked right above my head, and the cloud, they were doing this. I was like, this has to be some sort of QLCS type action. And, the Weather Service said it was, and I never really saw much of a definitive funnel or anything that would clue me in otherwise, but just the way the winds were behaving, it totally made sense. And they were rotating like crazy right above my head, so maybe that was the funnel. I don't know.
There was a white cone funnel.
Maybe about a tenth of the way to the ground, but it lasted for 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah, and it was definitely, it might even last longer than that.
Oh, you're right. You're right, because I did see, I wrote that off as a shear funnel, because I was like, hey, a little shear funnel.
No, it was right at the end of the, I don't know, you'd call that a ghost train or It was the inflow tail, basically. That thing was just feeding in. It had a big old alligator's mouth on it for a minute.
Yeah.
It was feeding in, and there was a funnel on it, and I'm pretty sure that's where the tornado was. At least from what I could tell.
All right, so Ben, you guys got up there to Iowa Saturday, and you still had a couple days before the big day on Monday. So tell us about the rest of that trip.
Oh boy.
Oh, good.
This is the best part of the trip. You want to tell him or do you want me to tell him? Adam loves it.
Should I tell him or I'll let you
No, because nobody will believe you. So we ended up in Peoria on Saturday night, Peoria, Illinois, at a Hampton Inn, and conveniently enough, it was located next to a casino, and we kind of wanted to go Saturday night, but there was a whole bunch of girls softball teams there, and I think we were all really just freaking tired, and it was pouring rain out, and going to the casino seemed like a pain in the ass to go get wet to walk over there.
Yeah.
So we went Sunday.
And I'm broke.
Yeah, and we screwed around a bit on video poker, lost our money, and like idiots. And then Adam went down to play roulette, like he normally does, and he's got some numbers he plays quite often, and then he has one number he plays every time.
Evidently, we learned we actually have the same lucky number. It's 11.
Yeah, it's 11. So he plays 11 every single time, and I don't know how many rounds we went. I don't know, 10, 15 rounds or whatever.
Well, I think let's put a dollar amount to the amount of rounds that we went. So how much money did you spend, Adam, on that?
He lost
60.
60.
I bought in with $60, which is less than I normally do. Usually I buy in with at least $100 for this reason that you're about to hear. So I bought in with less than I normally do, and I was doing good for a while. I got up to about $130, but that's piddly change. We're going big or going home.
Right.
But I'll let you finish.
So Adam's betting, and we're down to the last hand that he's got. He's got all of his money out there. He's all in, and I think you just you must have completely missed everything.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it actually hit 12.
It was 12.
Yeah.
There were 5 numbers on the whole board that would have wiped me out, and that was one of them.
Yeah. So literally, we tell this guy that was there. I think he was just betting on the ends or something.
He was betting on the colors.
Yeah,
colors and ends.
So we tell him, dude, put some money on 11. Like if I would have had $20 in my pocket, I would have tossed it on number 11.
So if it's gonna hit any time, it's gonna hit right now.
Well, no, I said we have to leave now because I can't watch the next spin.
Adam starts to walk out. Adam starts to walk out. I go, well, being the good friend I am, I'll let you know if it's 11.
so we sit there at the table, and the bead doesn't like bounce around. It just goes right in like a magnet and sticks right in 11. And we just erupt. Everyone either thought that we lost our house or won a jackpot, but something happened, and it's not good news for Adam.
And we were really close to the door, so we just roared out the door laughing. all the people on the machines right by the roulette table and the exit, man, they all turned around and were looking at us like, what the fuck are these guys?
And the median age of everybody there was probably about 100, 120, somewhere in between there. I think maybe 2 or 3 of them probably had to dial up their oxygen models a little bit more because we gave them quite the scare with how wildly we erupted.
So, Adam loses his money. I go downstairs and I was talking about maybe we should just go home because it's 9 hours to get home from Peoria.
That's not even the real tragedy that day. The real tragedy is I lost my gas station sunglasses in the casino somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forget about that.
Yeah, who cares about Adam's money?
But so we talk about going home.
Polarized.
And I don't remember exactly what it was that finally made me go up there, but Adam kept pointing out, well, if you're going to waste a day, you might as well do it tomorrow, on a day like tomorrow. Fucking asshole.
Well, the Broyles kept hyping the event on the early outlooks, talking about long-lived and apocalypse or something like that.
Strong, long-lived tornadoes.
Yeah.
So eventually I decide, and I went and I looked, and basically I had 2 flights protected for me on American Airlines.
There was one thing I told you, too, remember?
I don't remember.
You were just willing to spend all that money on the casino, so why not just go ahead and spend it on a chase?
So, I only lost $30 at the casino, by the way. But, so we we decided to. I protected myself on flights. I used the American Airlines hold in miles, so I had booked a flight for both Monday and Tuesday. They were just sitting on hold.
One was Chicago, and one was
both of them were through Chicago.
Yeah.
And so the idea was I can go to my parents' house in Michigan, see my dad for Father's Day, and either fly out the next morning, Monday morning, and fly home and go to work, like normal humans do on Monday who don't chase water vapor. Or
we have the stupidest hobby.
Yeah, we really do. It's fucking retarded. But the other idea was I was going to stay for Tuesday and fly home Tuesday, and then Bart was going to drive home. And it turns out neither of those happened. So
I was able to check a thing off my bucket list. I was able to blow up Ben Holcomb's parents' bathroom in the middle of the night. It was quite the achievement.
Achievement unlocked.
That's right. That's one of the rarest of rarities that not many can say have accomplished. Adam, your bathroom's next, by the way.
No, you can't blow up his bathroom. Trust me.
Really?
I've tried. The Titan, man.
Well, so far I've done your house, your apartment, and now your parents' house.
No.
Although at least your apartment, I was able to make a couple people vomit.
Adam's bathroom is unblow-upable.
Really?
Yeah.
I consider that challenge accepted.
Yeah.
That's right. I got the Titan. I this toilet out there called a Titan.
You just need to load me up on a pizza.
It's guaranteed never to back up, and it never has. Because Lord knows you people have tried.
Dude, we've thrown it our best. I've thrown it my best for sure.
I don't try to back him up. I just try to melt porcelain.
No, it's not melting.
Really?
Have you guys tried Upper Decker?
No.
It's where you shit in the bowl, like where all the water's stored. You should do that to Adam's toilet.
Yeah. That you know what? You should have clicked Adam off before you said that, because that's now the thing I'm gonna do.
Son of a bitch.
We're gonna have, what is that, oddities, or what's the pizza place?
Obbies.
I'm gonna eat a bunch of obbies. Basically a lasagna. It's not really a pizza. Don't let them tell you otherwise. And then I'm gonna do an Upper Decker. It's bad. It'll be bad.
Yeah. So whenever Adam flushes, it'll need nothing but shit water.
I want to further derail this while we're on the conversation about places in Illinois. So I've always heard from Illinois chasers about not wanting to come down to Oklahoma because our storms are HP. We don't have good roads. The internet sucks. You know what? I have to drive 15 hours for rain showers. And I got to say, I tried the opposite only one time. And I don't see what the big hubbub about living up in Illinois is. We were on an HP storm. We had to be inside the tornado to see it. The data sucked up there when we were trying to get video out. The traffic was horrible, and the roads weren't that much better either.
Adam?
Where were you chasing?
Right next to you. Apparently. Are you kidding me? There wasn't a... That storm was HP.
I had data all
day. It was a garden shower, and it was HP.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm also going to say this. I don't understand your fetish of the self-torture to drive 15 hours to be inside of blinding rain. I tried it the opposite way around, and I just didn't get the same thrill. It's much nicer living in here where I can walk outside and, 5 minutes later have tornadoes.
He's just ignoring us.
He is.
I don't know.
What?
It's no different. I do that 12 times a year going down to Texas.
I know, why?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What's the point? You get one day up there, and then you get 1,000 down here.
Because I'll be down there for those, and I'll get the ones up here.
Well, so did we.
We did, but watch the
guys are coming up here.
You had one chase this year in your area that was good, and then a quadrillion in Oklahoma, and ours was the other way around.
No, I had one good chase in Oklahoma.
Well,
okay, the Texas
that's not Oklahoma's fault.
That's because you were off from May 20th to May 30th.
Yeah.
And wait, how HP were all the storms down there this year? Wait a minute, let me.
Oh, wait a second. No, that one in Illinois was the most HP storm I was on this year.
Yeah, that was the
right.
worst. Even though the HP storms down here,
even you'll admit that.
Tornadoes.
I think you'll even admit that was the most HP storm you'd been on this year.
I'll admit that, but I love HP storms.
For God's sakes, I had less rain when I chased Hurricane.
Quote that for truth. Quote that for truth. Adam said he loved HP storms.
Right there.
I
love HP storms.
We need a T-shirt with that and that smug face of his on it. I'm going to design that tonight and expect the Chaser meme to pop up.
You're screwed.
Hey, Bart, you can sell that at ChaserCon next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, which is not in Illinois.
Nor probably ever will be.
Oh, it will be one year, and I won't go.
Actually, ChaserCon in Chicago would be fun as hell.
Yeah?
I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go.
You're so full of shit, you'd go.
Half of it would be in your living room. Are you kidding me?
No, because 80% of the Illinois Chasers hate me, so I'd have to go there. There'd be fights left and right.
That would make it absolutely worth it. Now, Rigsby's on that list, isn't he?
No. No, Rigsby lives in Ohio.
Oh, that's right.
But there's
That's Alec I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, no, that's Alec that lives in Illinois.
Where was he on that chase, by the way?
Oh, he was in Iowa. No.
Oh, that's right. He got a Sheriff NATO. You saw that photo he tried to pass off. I love you, Alec.
Okay, so hold on. We're kind of derailing. I know we were talking about long hauls here.
It's the ghost train. We got to derail the hype train.
Now we've done that quite a bit this year. Okay, so you guys had some adventure on your long trip. I guess,
yeah, that's putting it nicely.
All right, so Adam, as they just said, you're no stranger to these long hauls.
It gives them an edge.
It builds character. Come on, no.
Builds a bladder, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So with you though, you drive a big gas guzzling SUV, and you just said you got to come down to Texas and Oklahoma quite a bit.
Yep.
So I guess it's a little more expensive for you to make these drives just with the gas alone, I would imagine. And then
that's certainly the worst part about it.
That's that edge.
So are you okay to drive hours and hours and hours through the night and whatnot? Is that okay with you? Like, does your body let you do that? Okay.
Most of the time, I don't have a problem. Most of the time, every now and then, if it's a day where I work the whole day and I get an hour of sleep, okay, I might start getting tired by the end of the drive. But most of the time, I don't have a problem. I'm just kind of used to it.
I thought you were getting to the point where you're getting old and it becomes a problem now.
Yeah, not really. Not really. But I know eventually one day that's gonna come. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe that's when I'll have to be a lazy fuck and move down to Norman.
You'll never move here.
I can't go for an hour without crapping my pants. So
can you imagine the gay jokes that would follow if you moved here?
Oh, I haven't made a meme out of that photo yet. Thank you for reminding me.
I don't know.
Man, I
When a woman looks like nude is the only ones that are getting ribbed for being gay. I don't understand it, but whatever.
That sounds like a Craig Mayer thing.
Aaron knows what catfish looks like.
Who the fuck cares?
Oh!
He's an idiot for starting that. All right.
I love you,
Okay,
Craig.
so yeah, me too, Craig. So Adam, it's not a big deal. So are you really whenever you do these long treks and it doesn't work, like it doesn't pan out, the setup fell apart, something happened where you didn't see anything. Is it like a really, do you feel really dejected on the way home?
yeah, that drive home always sucks
It does.
when the setups don't pan out. But again, that's part of the game. So in order to do to chase the way I see it, you actually have to like to drive. I like to drive. There's other people who they get in a car and they can't stand driving for an hour. Me, I could drive all day. I could drive all night. I should be a truck driver is really what I should do.
Nice.
My career. The truck drivers always seem to be getting into tornadoes, so that might actually help my chances.
Here's their
Taylor.
all the meth that they take.
Hey, a little meth never hurt anybody.
No, I understand what you're saying. I know that hour to maybe hour and a half drive home for me from busted setups always stings. So I can only imagine what 14 and a half hours of it feels like.
Yeah,
Feels wonderful.
I've done that. I've done
Well,
that
you
driving
already
through the
got the
night.
teeth to be a meth head.
Oh, but now, wait a second. I thought that was supposed to be me that was snaggletooth.
Let's see him. Holy cow!
That sounds like Steve Buscemi right here.
You belong on the East Coast, Mr. Shark.
Oh man.
Oh shit!
Hey, I got a name to live up to. Weingart gave me a good one. I gotta make sure that it sticks.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, that was the other fun thing of being at the casino was all the drama.
Yeah, that hit at the best time possible, right on Father's Day.
Station drama or what?
Oh, just turtles and other stuff.
Okay. I don't follow. All right. Well,
Be glad you don't follow. It's one
yeah.
of
Okay. That sounds like I don't need to follow.
the Texas short bus was making a lot of stuff.
Oh,
There's another meme.
thanks, Adam. That'll be made as soon as we get my computer.
Oh boy.
Texas
I
short
try
bus,
to I try to stay out of that, but every now and then it falls in my lap, and I'm just like, whatever.
Okay, so basically, it sounds like the secrets of long hauls is you gotta like to drive, and
Well, that's
you
a big
gotta
part of it. You have to enjoy it.
yeah, you gotta enjoy the drive, and then you gotta be able to
Horses into it. That's Sarah's standing right there.
live through the failure if you have to drive home without anything on your catch. So I've done that a couple times this year. Driving up to and where was that? It was up near I-70 in Kansas and not seeing anything. And I had to drive home that night, and I didn't get home till like 2 or 3 in the morning. But one thing I did see was I got some good pictures with the stars and some storms on the horizon. So trying to find little things that make it worth it, I think, is really important too. So,
Oh, yeah.
go ahead, Adam.
I was gonna say, and then there's a lot of chasers out there that like to do that. It's the whole traveling, the whole adventure part of that. Some people just want it easy, convenient for them. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You just have to take the pros and cons with each type of thing.
Yeah, and the big reason I wanted to bring this up was that I am going to be doing a tour next month for Laney Dean. He actually asked me to do it. He just said he's burned out on chasing, and he only has one client to do. So he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said, sure, I would love to, and to try it out. And the thing is I'm going to be the only one driving on that whole tour. So you got to think we're starting in Tulsa, and the first day I imagine it's going to be somewhere like North Dakota, maybe even Montana or something like that. Just some ungodly distance of driving that I'm going to have to do, but I do like driving, and actually I love to see new places and stuff, but I do have that curse of I do get drowsy a lot, and it's not so much, I'm tired from the day before. I could still get a full 8 hours of sleep and still be tired. I get that hypnotized effect sometimes when I'm driving, and you just get a little drowsy, and sometimes I just need to be nudged in the shoulder to make sure I'm still awake, and I have one time. I went on a chase right after work, and I was driving south. It was like south of Lubbock, and I think this was a couple years ago. I got about 45 minutes out of Amarillo, and I was so tired. I actually I woke up to the sound of my car driving in the ditch on I-27. So once that happens, you wake up, you're awake. You're not drowsing off that day anyway. Yeah, and then I had another instance back in 2011. It was an early April setup, southeast Kansas. Me and Brady Kendrick drove from Amarillo. We went to OKC, picked someone up, drove up there, busted hard near Emporia, and we ended up in like Wichita at 10 p.m. and I still had to drive back that night. So that's when Brady decided to break the news to me that he didn't know how to drive a standard, and that car wasn't standard. And I was like, oh my God, you just killed us both. So drove home, or tried to, had a lot of instances of falling asleep on the interstate at like 2, 3 in the morning. had to pull over, sleep for like an hour, and then go again. And I don't think I got into town till like 7 a.m. because I had to keep stopping and resting. But you know, energy drinks have come a long way. They do keep me awake for the most part,
Snacking
especially.
helps.
Yeah, I mean, monsters are my way to go, and I try to get the sugar-free monsters just so I don't have to suffer the sugar crash afterwards. So, um, but that and I try not to eat a lot of junky foods. Try to stick with nuts that are high in protein and beef jerky if I can afford it, which is like never.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm dealing with coming up is a lot of there's a lot to it. I think a lot of chasers that are just starting don't really understand that driving is probably 90% of the actual chase experience. In fact, it's pretty much almost 100% because the only time you get out is stopping for gas or stopping for food or hotels or the few minutes you have watching the storm. So yeah, if you're gonna do the long haul events, you gotta be perfectly fine being confined into a car for hours and hours and hours. If you want to attempt that, it's not for everybody. So you
Well,
know,
that's all
but
chasing is. That's what I tell people who don't. What's chasing like? I say all it is driving. You're driving, 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 and then you're more driving. And when you think you're done, you got to drive some more.
All I can say is you guys probably shouldn't look at
the what?
Right.
Lewis's radar loop. They may or may be detracting away from what we're doing at the moment.
What, the
Oh
tornado,
yes.
the tornado going through St. Louis right now?
Yes.
I'm watching that
confirmed?
too. I'm watching that too.
Is it
They're
confirmed or
actually
what?
supercells are right in that stationary boundary that's just camping on the Mississippi.
Yeah, if someone
Oh,
could
wow,
do
yeah.
if someone could do a screen share, we should show this. Like,
Oh yeah, I'll do it. Hold on.
Yeah, switch
Okay.
back over to the velocity too. That velocity was what?
All right, here we go. Yeah, look at it, especially
Yeah,
right
there.
there.
right there, yeah.
Holy
It
cow!
may or may not have produced something.
Promotion here. We're 298 at 28. Let's do that here real quick. 298 at 28. 298. 98 at 28. Let's look at storm relative velocity because that may give a different picture. Scary, but there's still a tornado right there. There's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a dangerous. That's going right through the St. Louis Metro.
Oh yeah, it's
that's,
right in the West Metro.
Well, this might finally force the Rams' hand to have to move if their stadium gets destroyed, or they may get that new stadium they've been wanting.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on that earlier, and I totally forgot about that storm. That's the one that did produce further north, west of there in Eolia, or however you say it. So,
Well, I think you're thinking it's two separate cells now. It kind of,
oh, is it? I didn't know. I thought it was the same one that just kept trekking
well,
south.
maybe not. I don't know. It's weird how the storms move forward out there. Look at Ben, do a screen grab and loop that again.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hold on here.
I've got it looped pretty far back, and it looks like it's the same storm.
Yeah, it's more or less the same storm. I mean,
It's like both of those supercells came out of this same
if you look
mess
at
of
the
stuff.
if you look at the updraft, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to the updraft. That's kind of weird.
Northwest
but-
flow, low top supercells.
Yeah, and if you're latched onto that boundary, I mean, there's no telling what's going on in the lower part. So,
I don't think they're low top today though. I mean, they were.
Look at
I've
the
seen some pictures. They were pretty
top
nice.
two. It's just way warm and tall out there, but they look like big honking supercells.
yeah, I don't know. You guys keep kind of muting in and out, by the way, Ben. I don't know what that's about.
What'd you say?
Yeah, you keep like muting in and out, like.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
wow.
because Bart keeps
we're talking
talking.
shit about you.
Oh, okay. As long as there's a reason.
Beard. Where's your fedora?
You're right about that. So
No.
interesting.
Well, hopefully, nothing major touches down in all that populated area. So.
Might be in the process of cycling or something as it goes right over the metro.
Yeah.
It kind of, right as it came into St. Charles, dissipated.
Oh, this is the chance for Dan Robinson to get that St. Louis arch with the tornado.
Is that one of the shots he's been trying for here?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, he gets lightning all the time with that arch, so.
Let's see here.
Hashtag art.
Interesting. If you look at it, let's take a look here. If you look at it, I'm looking at the TDWR site. Yeah, that's you can definitely see. Interesting.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, look at that tornado.
Holy cow.
Wow, that's quite prevalent there for. Let's see how many scans.
And they're gone.
11, 12, 13.
But before that, because that's as far back as the radar as we could go on the list.
Yeah, you can see the little notch there.
Wow.
Green and red's hooking up there on the near the top of the screen.
Yeah, right up here.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong little RFD on there. So yeah, that likely something, at least rotating wall cloud for sure was going on right there. So, oh look at this, like breaking news right now. This is the first time we've done this on the show. Breaking news.
But I was
Breaking news.
interrupted nonsense.
Yeah, well, you usually are. Yeah.
Huh. Did you notice if you loop that, they tornado warned a storm for literally 2 scans, like in the Illinois side of St. Louis, which is weird. I've never seen a short tornado warning like that. That would be what, 12-minute, 15-minute tornado warning probably.
Yeah, that fell apart pretty quick.
Maybe that's probably where that boundary is that you guys are talking about, right where that thing started.
If you're looking right here
up.
on this TDWR site, you can see it's the bow almost as it blows out right there by where Tony's icon is. So there's a tornado report there too. Funnel cloud.
Yeah, but on the very northern part of that, as the RFD kicks out, you may get something. Because how does that line up with reflectivity?
Well, it does. No. Well, Adam's wishing he was not talking to us.
That's only
That's about.
drive from him. That's a short drive for those Illinois chasers.
It's 5.
It's 5.
But I know. I'm just exaggerating for the sake of exaggeration.
It's 5.
It's crap that we drove through that construction. He's got to come down 55.
Yeah, 55 is actually closed. That was another fun thing. So, Google, in all of its awesomeness, routed me down I-64 from 55 to 64 because you can't take 55 to 44 in St. Louis.
Oh, I know that whole thing is. I got a story about that in my own too.
Did you go on the Google routed me onto? Let me figure out exactly what road it was because it was
an adventure that I slept through.
Yeah, Bart slept through it, but it was supreme. And
well, it was probably as bad as mine. I had a big long Facebook rant about it too.
Did you?
I can't wait for football season for me to be going up to those games and it to be there.
But it wasn't when I was driving down. It was when I was coming home from one of the times I was coming home from Oklahoma City. That the ramp was closed to get onto 55. So I went north and I followed like their posted detour or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I got off on an exit, which put me in the ghetto. And I was like, okay. So I'm driving around trying to figure out how to get back onto the highway. I have no freaking clue. So I'm just kind of following other cars. People are breaking off, and we end up, I forget how, I end up turning down a street, which turned into a parking lot, which basically, between this parking lot, there was a field, a curb, and then the highway. I could not figure out how to get onto the highway. So finally, I just said, fuck it, and I drove across this field, jumped the curb, and I got on the highway that way. I was like, all right, I'm back on the interstate now. Well, a car tried to follow me and do that, but the curb was so high they got stuck. So I don't know what happened to them. Like, I just kept going. I saw them trying to jump the curb, and because the curb was so high, their front wheels, the car got stuck on there. So I don't think, I have the ground clearance on my truck, or it was no big deal. So this car followed me and got stuck.
Well, it routed me down this Kings Highway right here. So I came down 64, and this Kings Highway right here is you know, you got to remember it's, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning or something.
But that's exactly when I was doing it, too. It was like 2 in the morning.
And, well, it looks a little bit nicer in Street View than it really was, but it was not nice.
There's a nice part of St. Louis.
It's called the suburbs.
No, it's called the part where you're leaving.
it's where Six Flags is. Here we go. This is a little bit more representative of what I was.
The far west suburbs.
That looks exactly like where I was at. Something very similar.
All I know is I was the only white person driving down there, and I was a little bit scared, and I locked my doors. And I guess if that makes me a racist asshole, then I'm a racist asshole.
You're not racist. You're just offensive.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what, though? I bet you some of these tolerance people, have them drive through the ghetto and see if they lock their doors.
Yeah.
Be like, wait a minute. You know, these are your people.
It was like your Facebook ghetto tour you gave us a couple weeks back.
The hood fruit?
The hood, yeah. Yeah, Adam had to drive through the ghetto to get to a job, and he kept sending us pictures of the whole route. And
yeah, how about some of those, huh?
yeah, I was a little bit happy that I was not in the vehicle with him, because I was a little bit scared for his safety.
Oh man, so these. Okay,
I was lucky though. It was raining that day, so there weren't too many people outside. But I did see the guy pushing the shopping cart with a washing machine in it down the middle of the street.
Brand new washing machine.
It was brand spanking new. He's pushing it down the street in a shopping cart.
Oh crap!
Okay, I tried to get a picture as I was driving by, but I missed.
But yeah, the bottom line is, you know, I made it through St. Louis, and you know, it ended up not being so bad. I was a little bit scared there for a minute, but
if it weren't for the Rams, I probably would have no reason to go to that city whatsoever, and I have family there. And
yeah,
they really don't give me much of a reason to go there in the first place, anyways.
So, a quick question from Tyler Hudson about this topic, I guess, is have you ever had any surprises to and from a Target area?
What if I not have a surprise to and from the Target
area? I can think
area?
of a pretty good one in South Dakota that was quite the surprise.
Surprise! The road ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of surprises? Like, and there's no short list. Things surprise me every time I go out there.
I guess just some weird things you've seen, you know, on the highway or whatever. And while you guys talk about that, I gotta turn on my light because it's suddenly getting dark in my house. So.
It happens to do that at night.
Yeah, I know. But sure. One of you guys take over real quick.
Well, I've you know, obviously you have the weird homeless people and
I'm one of them.
Yeah, and Bart, you know, he was a beggar this whole last trip, but yeah, I mean, every time seems to be an adventure, and you know, I mean, that's part of the fun of chasing, I think, is just, you know, it's an adventure.
The
and
thing I like are all the quirky roadside attractions like Carhenge, where they got all the cars stacked up like Stonehenge, or the world's largest ball of twine up there in northern Nebraska, and all the weird stuff like that.
Adams, I think you even had you had some quote-unquote offers from some trucker guys before?
You got a pretty mouth there, boy.
I don't think I've ever had that one happen.
Okay, maybe that was
me with somebody else.
Might have been. I know Craig has said he had it before, and
yeah. No, I've never had.
Probably took it up too.
Never had any of that happen, but yeah, there was. You never know what you're gonna see during these long drives. There was one time I was heading down to Mississippi with Alec, and we pulled into a gas station, you know, just to fuel up or whatever. And guy pulls into the pump next to us in his pickup truck. He gets out, and I guess he forgets to put it in park. So he's walking into the gas station, his pickup truck just starts rolling backwards. I'm like, I should get out and try and stop that. But I was so tired, we both just kind of sat there and just watched it. It ended up rolling back and smashing into somebody's parked car, putting a huge dent in it. So the guy comes out, gets in his truck, and drives away. I'm like, So I go in there and I'm like, yeah, someone's car just kind of got messed up, and it was this truck. I didn't catch a plate, but so hopefully they caught the bastard. But holy crap, that storm is really ramping up on the latest. Holy crap!
The radar has a gnarly hook in St. Louis right now.
Yeah, I mean, so you never know what you're going to see on these drives.
Radar warning out ahead of it, and they just put a severe warning.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That's a very strong radar presence.
Yeah, they might want to rethink that.
The rotation's not overly impressive, though, on...
the TDWR side, it looks like it may be gusting out, and so that may be why they just put a severe out.
Maybe that's just RFD gust out ahead of it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it has a pretty good... There's a weird pixel that's completely empty, but that's a weird presentation. I guess I should probably unsmooth.
There you go.
Yeah, so... And I'm trying to think of any of the other interesting things. I mean, you obviously get people in gas stations say interesting stuff. Especially if they figure out you're a storm chaser, obviously. Nothing sticks out to me that's,
Okay, I got one.
The ordinary.
I like all the crazy rednecks that come up to you with all the tornado stories they have. One time my father took me out chasing. There was like 10 of them dropping out of the sky at once, and it was crazy.
Back in 1964, there was one that went right down here, just barely missed my farm.
Oh, yeah, I got a funny one. Hold on,
let me do my funny one here. The funniest ones were always when I was with Drummond, and he'd pull in someplace, and his car's all whackered out with wraps and light bars and sirens and God knows what the fuck. And they'd always ask, "Are you one of them storm chasers?" It's like, no, this dumbass just spent $20,000 making his car look cool.
Well, you can't do that. But my favorite thing is when I'm in covering like a winter weather or something, and I had the storm trooper, which was a pretty obvious storm chasing vehicle, and it'd be snowing, and I'd have someone come up and ask me, "Are we expecting tornadoes sometime pretty soon?" I mean, no, it's December at Christmas, and there's 4 feet of snow on the ground. Why do you think I'm here?
Yeah, they don't understand that storm chaser means all types of storms. They just think tornadoes, so.
Adam's funny story now.
It was actually June 5th, 2009, after Goshen. We followed the storm into the Nebraska Panhandle, and this drunk guy comes up, and he looks at me and he looks at the storm. He goes, "What direction's that coming from?" And I said, "It's coming from the northwest. It's moving southeast," which it was at the time. That just set him off on a tyrant rant. He goes, "You get on the phone with them national stupid weather center. Tell this shit always comes from the northwest. They're always talking about how storms move northeast all the time, but around here they always come from the northwest." And he just started going off and going crazy. I was like, "Oh, jeez."
Remember that night too when Skip almost got in a fight with those people?
What?
Wait.
Wasn't it Skip later on that night? He almost got in a fight with the locals with his driving.
That was Danny and I because that was me and Danny because I didn't realize. I thought it was 2 lanes. I think we were in Sydney.
Yeah, we were in Sydney.
I didn't realize there were 2 lanes. I thought they were 2 traffic lanes. It turns out one of them was designed for people to park, and I didn't know that. So when I was in that lane, one of the local assholes started speeding up next to me to not let me back in. So we kind of like paced each other to the restaurant. But they followed me into the restaurant and they were like giving me the stink eye, like the what's up. And I stood there like, "What's up?" Like, come on. So we kind of like gave each other the stare down for a couple of minutes, and the whole time we were in the restaurant, they were standing outside and calling their friends over. Their little crew got bigger and bigger. Danny and I just kept standing up in the restaurant like, "Come on."
Wow, there's a big debris ball right now showing up on.
There's actually on. I was just looking at it on my phone. There's a drop in the CC right there with it as well. So we maybe.
That's a TBS.
Oh, but I thought it was gusting out.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
Yeah, that's actually.
Here, look at this. This is actually really bizarre.
On the velocities.
Yeah, look at this velocity here. Do you see that? Can you guys see my screen?
There in it, yeah.
Like,
You have level 2?
Yeah, look.
Hey, hold on, I have level 2 here as well. Let me change over to level 2.
He's got both.
Yeah, here, let me just change to that screen.
Well, if you get a second to look at the CC, once we look at that too, you'll.
Yeah, look at you can see this is level 2. You know, it's not, and then you've got a little bit of a debris ball here, but holy cow, that's a big debris ball that you're seeing right there, right over Glendale.
Maybe I should have borrowed your car a little bit longer.
Yeah, no kidding. Should have done something. So, yeah, interesting.
I don't know, it's really weird. The velocities just aren't matching up as good as you think they would. With such a
it's in a metro. You're going to get a lot of building interference around there too.
You're getting a lot of building interference
because there's always ground. Look at all the ground clutter to the left.
Yeah, let's look at correlation coefficient here too. Well, that honestly wasn't exactly what I was expecting to see. I guess it's probably right here.
It's a lot lower. Yeah, it's a lot. It's slowly coming down. Compare that with what it looked like when it was up by St. Charles and it had that real stout rotation with it. You'll see that there was a pretty evident that little
right there.
Yeah, let's look at that with the reflectivity. I don't know if we're able to go back that far yet.
Yeah, hold on. Well, we're giving you guys a live.
Yeah, this is what we do when this is what we do when we're not chasing. We sit out here and geek out to the radar like. Ooh. The life of a storm chaser is actually quite boring.
Yeah, we're not as cool as the movie makes us out to be.
Well, that's interesting. So,
we'll have to see what comes of it.
Yeah, there's still a severe thunderstorm warning. They have not issued a tornado warning, which
I actually have family that is pretty darn close to that, and so
you said Arnold.
Well, yeah, but he works up in town, and so he's up in St. Louis proper right now, heading on his way back to Arnold. So
who the hell works on a Sunday?
He's a real estate agent.
Oh.
That's who.
So.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, I screw real estate. It's funny, actually. He's talking about right now the market's almost too good.
Interesting. Well, I would say that there probably is a tornado there in the western suburbs of St. Louis right now, though.
Right about Rock Hill to Glendale.
And it's about ready to cross I-44. Hopefully it doesn't hit... I think that's the way out. Yeah,
I wonder if there's any traffic cameras on those interstates, or what is the local news? The local news probably has a camera on it that's streaming it. Let's see what they have to say. We could stream with because streams.
I'm looking to see who's chasing on that thing.
Laubach is in the wrong spot.
The only notable chaser I see is Bill Reed, unless that's the different Bill Reed. And there are two of them.
It says it should be William Reed.
Yeah, William Reed, but it doesn't have. That's all it shows.
This thing's coming in right at dark up there in that area, and there's probably not going to be that spectacular video outside of lightning flashes and whatnot.
Of course, the one I want to see is temporarily unavailable.
Probably because it just got hit by a tornado.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, this will be boring for anybody watching the archives.
Yeah, I know. What the hell? Nothing even happened that day. All right, so real quick. Okay, so weird things that we've seen on the highway. Yeah. I had this old lady, and I'm sure I've told this story on the show before. Old lady in Greensburg. We were at that grocery store / gas station, all sitting out there one day waiting for storms to fire, and she comes out. She's like, "Oh, you guys storm chasers?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we are." And we told her where we're from, and then she's like, "Are we expecting some tornadoes later?" And I was like, "Well, it's possible, and that's kind of why we're here. We're here." She goes, "Good. I hope one comes right through Greensburg again." I'm like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Okay," and like she sounded really pissed off that she was living in Greensburg. And she didn't care if that place existed anymore, and it was so weird. But I don't know. Maybe she had some big insurance policy in her house or something. But yeah, you get those weird people, man. That's kind of you meet a lot of locals out there, like you said, Adam, just going to fill up for gas, and you just some weird locals, and I remember what town was that in? some random ass town in western Kansas where I stopped. The lady there, there's nothing on me that says I'm a storm chaser except if you knew what my tattoos were, I guess. But she already knew that I was a storm chaser, and there was no other. It was already night, so it wasn't anything big. But I guess people just know who's new in town and what they're doing there. But anyway, any other weird stories, Adam?
Oh, I'm sure I could think of plenty if I sat here long enough.
Yeah, we'll sit here all night with weird stories.
There's no short amount of those. That's for dang sure. But it's all part of the experience. I like meeting these goofy people.
I think some of the weirdest stuff that we often see are a lot of the chasers themselves that are out there in the field. You get the weird contraptions. I've seen a guy driving down the road with what looked like a tornado siren in the truck bed of his truck on May 19th, 2010. So, as much as it is fun to tell about other people, I think the chasers themselves have produced most of the weird things we've seen. Oh yeah, for sure.
Speaking of which, we do got to tell our story in Illinois. So we're on this.
Oh God! What a douche!
So we actually have figured out who this person was, but there was a Nissan Sentra with one of those little. Postal carrier yellow lights on top.
A little flashy beacon going off like
and
this.
This person was obviously following us through the beginning stages of the storm. Obviously followed us through Rock Falls because we may have committed a couple traffic infractions, and they may have as well.
Ben was driving.
Yes, I was driving. We were kind of scared because the inflow was east to west, and the storm was kind of moving through town.
Thank God it was one of those highly photogenic non-HP Illinois storms where we could clearly see the position of the tornado in relation to it.
Or see through all the millions of fucking trees that are up there in Rock Falls.
And it had such a good road grid that we were able to efficiently move out of the way of the storm.
And get across the river. Anyways, so, I perhaps may have blown a couple red lights and
allegedly.
I think one actually. There was nobody at it, and so anyways, this person continues to follow us through this. He pulls in behind me at some point. I forget exactly where at this
There was
point.
like 4 or 5 different times that he did it. But then,
he did the one. Yeah, he did one where Adam. You pulled in behind me, and then he tried to go around me on the right side, and he almost hit me.
Because he was trying to talk to us.
Yeah, he kept trying to drive up to us to talk to us.
It was pretty clear that this guy had no reason whatsoever to be doing what he was doing, to be chasing that kind of storm in that part of it, or that he had any idea what was going on.
So, anyways, we're at the the storm's getting ready to do its business, and so this guy finds me again, pulls up, basically blocking me in again, and is like, "Hey man, what do you think?" And I go, "I think you should stop following me."
And it's pretty obvious too. Just west of us in the field, we've got some of the best rotation I've ever seen in the base of a storm. And the guy's asking, "What do we think is going to go happen right now?"
So, anyways, I tell him, "I think you should stop following us." And he goes, "Whatever, man. Fuck you. You're following me." And drives off.
We've been following him from in front.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what he said, dude. You saw him.
I got his.
Oh, I saw him, but yeah.
It's Will White.
Yes.
I was trying not to use names, but
I will.
It's Will White, and I guess he went to high school with Alex Colton or something. I don't know what the deal was, but
Maybe it was his boyfriend for a while.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that might be the weirdest thing we've actually had from a chaser type. I like your noobs less up there, Adam.
I found a good photo of him on Facebook. I don't know if you all can see that.
A bit of a glare.
A bit of a glare. Dang it.
Oh, I'll be the first one to admit our noobs are definitely worse up here.
Yeah, your noobs are terrible. I've seen some really stupid noobs down here, so
we breed some real winners up here.
Yeah.
I mean,
you guys are
real winners.
I mean, you guys are the ones that gave us the batting cage, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got everything from batting cages to graveyard humpers. Like,
See,
I
that's
mean,
another good example
God.
of weird shit that you see when you're going on the road. Somebody driving what you could only describe as a batting cage into a storm.
I know what you're talking about.
he's never gonna live that down. You know, he's kind of quiet and does his own thing now, but
Yeah,
he's never gonna live that one down.
Or, man, that first DVD was awesome. That shelf cloud from like 30 miles away with the shaky cameras running stoplights.
All 18 minutes of it that we got to watch.
Oh, man, yes.
We couldn't do it. Remember, we bought a case of beer. We're like, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna drink it. We're gonna get through this. After like 25 minutes, we're like, no, turn it off. We just couldn't do it.
Was that a Skip's house? I think that was a Skip's house, wasn't it?
You guys
No, I thought that was at your house.
Yeah, but we did it at my house too.
That's him. What? That's him. So hold on, we got this photo of Will Wright. I'd like to share. This is from his Facebook profile, and it looks just like him.
What the crap? Yeah.
Just imagine that face going, "Hey man, I think you're following me."
Alrighty.
Oh boy.
Okay, so I got a good story. This actually just happened recently, so no one really knows about it. Well, you know, I was up in the Dakotas for a few days, and then June 19th was that monster supercell in South Dakota. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw that. You know, I got a screenshot of that storm.
It's not even tornado warned.
Oh, yeah,
That-
the
90-mile-per-hour
golf balls.
And then
It's that. Call Alex Schulten.
there's the velocity. So you know, it's showing like 130 mile an hour winds in that thing, right?
Right.
So that thing was an ungodly storm, and I'm a little bummed out we didn't get in front of it because you know it was moving pretty quickly. But you know the pictures I saw out ahead of it were really really good. But anyway, so as you saw, you know, I don't know if you saw my little blue crosshairs, but I was near that thing, and then we bailed on it, decided let's get a room in Sturgis. Well,
you were closer than some people we know.
well, I mean, we were on the backside. You couldn't see shit, but just a constant lightning, and then eventually it got pitch black, and I was like, well, I mean, I don't want to try to punch through this thing. I don't know what the hell's on the other side, so I called it a night, and not only that, but I knew I was gonna have trouble getting a room in Sturgis because it's a Friday night, and it's Sturgis, and I don't know if anyone knows about Sturgis, but it's that whole region of South Dakota is a big tourist track. You know, there's a lot of attractions to see out there, and bikers, yeah. So I had a hell of a time looking for a room. Everyone was booked. It was like only 9 o'clock, and everyone was already booked. And then finally, I got a room at a Night's Inn in Sturgis. Night's Inn was $107, right, for a smoking room, and that's what I had to settle with.
And you only came away with 2 diseases.
That's right. That's it. Only 2. Nothing a little penicillin can't take care of. But no.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, no. I guess there's like a big car show going on that weekend, and then some like Wild West theater show thing going on in like Mount Rushmore, whatever. But like every room in Rapid City was taken. Spearfish, Deadwood. I mean, all these big towns were taken.
Well, if you had given up your chase earlier and gone, you would have found an easier room, I promise.
We had that same issue the day before Simla. We drove from Mount Rushmore, in fact, all the way to Sterling, Colorado, and every single town in between the two did not have a single hotel room that was open until we got to the Ramada Inn, where we're pretty certain an episode of the first 48 was filmed in our hotel room.
So yeah, so finally we got a room, and you know we slept all right. And then you know the next day, the 20th, was on Saturday, and I had to be back by Monday, so that allowed 2 days of travel with the chase hopefully between. Well, I was hoping to get down near Cheyenne that day to have an easier drive home, and so we're going through the Black Hills. We come out the Black Hills and we're heading towards Newcastle, Wyoming.
Thunderstorm warnings up.
And it was really weird because we're out in the middle of nowhere. We just got out of the Black Hills, and there's this really tall guy walking on the side of the road. And I thought it was just some guy just, you know, a homeless guy or something walking. So we drive by, and my chase partner says, "Was that Hank?" And I was like, "Hank Pecos Hank? Hank Shima?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I don't know, was it? I didn't see him. I wasn't paying attention." And she's like, "I think it was." So I was like, "All right, well, let's go find out." So I turned around and I drive back up the highway, and sure enough, fucking Hank was just walking on the side of the highway. And I was like, "Oh shit, maybe his car broke down or ran out of gas or something." So I'll check out what he needs. So I pulled up next to him, and he came over to say hi, and I was like, "What are you doing out here?" And this little it looked like a church. It was a church, almost looked like a church, a trailer house, and the post office in this little out in the middle of nowhere. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my hotel right there." I was like, "What? How the hell is that a hotel?" He's like, "Come on, I'll show you." And sure enough, out there in the middle of nowhere, there's this lady. She lives in the trailer house, and then she converted that church into a hotel. There's like 10 rooms in it. She charges $45 a night, right? You don't have internet, and it's a community bathroom, but it's a bed, your own private room, and there's a refrigerator, a community refrigerator, and all this crap. But it's $45 a night. It's pretty cheap. And so yeah, it was just so weird to see him out there walking and stuff, and we sat around. We were just talking for hours and hours. I was already planning. I was targeting to go down to Cheyenne and chase the Cheyenne Ridge crap. And we ended up talking till like 4 or 5 o'clock that afternoon. And then finally, when we went outside, there was a big storm already bubbling up just to our west near Newcastle. So, got to thank Hank for keeping me there, keeping me entertained, because otherwise I would have missed that storm. But, that's just kind of one of the weird things. I couldn't believe that he was just out there walking. And I asked him what he was doing, and he said he just wanted to go for a walk. I was like, okay, that's kind of strange, but I don't know. Did y'all guys hear what happened to him? Like a couple days after that?
Didn't he hit a deer?
Yeah, he hit a mule deer with his car. His car, it actually wasn't his car. Luckily, it's a rental, and it's a Toyota Corolla, so it's a little tiny car made of plastic. And he hit a mule deer and like junked the car. He was okay, and but he said the worst part was like the deer was severely injured and like really crying like in agony. So he ended up pulling out his pocket knife and like killing it right there on the road just to end it out of its misery. And I was like, man, that's some heavy shit to have to go through, I guess. But
he was just pissed it hit his car.
yeah. I guess he found it cheaper for him to rent cars instead of just taking his own. I guess I don't know. Not sure how that works, but hopefully Hank sees this and he enjoys that little story, because I was really happy to just sit there and just talk with them about random setups we've had throughout the year and just kind of some stuff that you don't really. I don't know if people know this, but there is some stuff in the chasing community that you don't want anyone in public to know. And so it was really interesting to do that. So, because otherwise you get a lot of flack and drama that goes along with it. But I'll tell you guys after we get off the show. But anyway, no, that's one of the weirdest things I've had go on. Just to have see Hank out there in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's no other chasers out there because everyone's migrating with the system. They were, everyone was going towards Wisconsin for the Monday setup. I think was it Saturday? No. Either Saturday or Sunday was like a Iowa day or something like that, or setup. And so everyone was kind of pushing that way, but I was just going south. So, all right. So one question that was actually asked, and I think you guys will have more input on it than I do, was about streaming, live streaming. In fact, I think all you guys at one point were doing that quite often. I never did get into it. I usually didn't. I already had a handful just kind of doing things on my own as it was, so I didn't want to add streaming to it. But there was a period where streaming was profitable. It was a thing that chasers could do to make a little extra money on the side. And nowadays that just doesn't happen because there's a lot of streams that get thrown out for free. So I guess the question I was asked is it worth today, 2015, or I guess next year, 2016, is it worth to stream anymore? One advantage that we have now that we didn't have, back when that was big, back in like, '07, '08, '09, 2010, that era, was the internet coverage is obviously much larger and much faster, which would mean, in theory, that streaming is a lot easier because you don't have a drop signal. But Adam, what do you think? Is it even worth doing it anymore?
It could be. The big thing that hurt the streaming was the big motivation for me to do it was a good way to make some ad revenue back when they ran ads on the streams. But a lot of people complained they didn't like the ads, so a lot of that got pulled. And streaming can be a kind of a hassle when you're out there. It's just another thing you have to worry about. The stream connection goes down. It's another camera you have to try to fiddle around with. So that was kind of a thing where there needed to be some sort of ends to justify the means. I myself got out of streaming this year just because I kind of got tired of dealing with the hassle with no benefit. But I might reconsider streaming again next year on the YouTube platform, which to me is kind of appealing because at the very least you can stream direct from your YouTube channel, which I like. And all those stream viewers are now exposed to your YouTube channel, which is appealing for me. So I might actually think about getting back into the streaming game next year for that reason. Like I said, just to have that extra audience there, because there is a demand for it. I get countless people asking me, "Hey, is your stream up? Where's your stream?" So there is a demand for it. This isn't a service that is by all means not losing its popularity. It's just on the chaser and on our end of it, it's kind of such a hassle to do that there needs to be, in my opinion, some sort of, I hate to use the word reward, but it's like I'm not going to go through all this extra hassle to stream if I'm not getting something in return.
Well, let me ask something, and I'm not sure if maybe you guys are the ones to talk about this, but everyone here is attached to a broker system, and so streaming live, does that take away? I mean, how does that even affect your status with your broker?
It doesn't. When we stream, there's always the brokers had our keys for the stream, so they could license it out right away. So the streaming companies always worked with the main brokers, so it was never an issue there. I think I've only sold my stream once. So I mean, it was never a huge market. Huge money maker for me or anything, but the public looks for it. There's a lot of people out there that want to watch it, so I think it's worth it if you don't mind the hassle of doing it. It's just something you have to ask yourself: is it worth it for you? But I think it can be very beneficial. National Weather Service obviously uses it, so it has those benefits. It's just a matter of do you feel like dealing with the hassle or not.
Yeah, the National Weather Service, in fact, definitely, I know for sure here in Amarillo, they do even say we have an entire monitor while we're tracking severe weather that's dedicated to chaser streams. So, if anyone in the Panhandle is streaming a storm and they need to see it, they'll use that. So, yeah, I get it, man. It's a lot of extra work. I know it's a lot of extra work. And if there's not much reward to it other than just a little bit of exposure, then it may not be worth it. I know there was some guys, I don't want to name names, but there's been some guys that I know that have had their stream bought by TV stations, and suddenly their viewership is really high, and they make a lot of money that way. I mean, not a lot of money, but enough to definitely cover a chase or maybe a couple chases after that. So yeah, I could see how there's not much initiative these days aside from just exposure to actually get a stream out there. But I mean, there's some guys that do stream and they have their own website, and their websites make the money because of ad revenues and visits and whatnot. It's not a lot of money, but it's there. So okay.
I've had a couple of days where my stream has netted me, a nice $60-$70 from the chase. Hey, that's that's a tank of gas. That's dinner after the chase. All right, it's in that case, it's worth it just to slap a camera on there and move it around a couple times. But like I said, once they basically pulled a lot of the ad revenue from the streaming services because people got annoyed with it, so it's harder to make anything in return there. But like I said, the YouTube platform has my eye, so I think I might visit that next year.
Yeah, definitely. I might even have to look into that too if there's plenty of benefits. All right, giggle buddies. How about you?
Well, I was getting Bart's Facebook. He left his phone open, but
This is the closest I've ever become to having someone troll me like this. And luckily, my expert Spidey sense honed in on what was happening.
I was trying to be.
I tried to like the status and it was already gone.
Exactly.
Damn it.
He didn't even spell hot right. It was like, hooped dog.
Well, I was sitting here trying to do it like under my leg here, so he didn't see the glow of the phone.
All I heard was the upload noise, and I saw his phone still sitting on the desk. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. But on the subject of streaming, as it stands at this moment, there is no reason, personally for me, to go out there and set up a stream. Although, yeah, I can kind of help with the following. You know, honestly, it's too big of a hassle. My high-quality video suffers because I'm having to dick around with the camera and keep it up and running and constantly moving it. And back when WDT was paying on streams, it made sense, and I actually would make some pretty decent money on it. Going forward, like Adam said, YouTube is going to be the platform of the future. They're talking about 50% ad revenue sharing, and he's trying to set the mood here for when we mute the mic again in just a moment. But but no, I mean, the only problem that I'm going to have with YouTube is that it is going to be hard to track your exact location while you're out. Because it doesn't have that map feature built into it. But on the flip side, if you're able to shoot in, not yet, buddy, wait till the stream's over. Gosh, we're just excited because the Supreme Court ruled in our favor finally.
Finally. I thought Adam and Ben were going to be the first to take advantage of that.
That's just his little boy toy, you know, on the side.
It's just a distraction.
Just a distraction. But that's what we want you to think. But no, the nice thing about YouTube is that as it streams, it automatically saves it onto your profile, so you immediately have a full-length video saved and backed up on YouTube. Depending on what quality you're streaming it, you could actually have pretty decent standard definition video on there as well.
Oh.
And you can set up a way if you were to try and sell the stream. The only problem I've had with seeing streams sold in the past is one of two things happens. Either A, a broker forgets to inform that the condition of selling the stream is they can only use it during the live broadcast, or B, stations will take the stream and record it and then use it later in their broadcast and not buy high-definition video. And so that's another reason why I have strayed away from streaming. If it's not recovering my cost of the chase, it's a distraction that I don't want to mess with.
And it uses a lot of data.
That too.
You know, I've definitely, as the person who basically brought streaming to the masses in 2008 was
thanks, Ben.
With the Severe Snakes place.
Severe Studios.
You know, I obviously I was always interested in streaming. It was a pretty cool thing, and you know, the look at me factor. Honestly, there was a lot of people out there that were streaming, and they would, what are you doing?
Sorry.
Jesus.
Easy now. Wait till after the stream.
It's a pretty interesting.
But people, you know, people go out there and you know, they'd stream themselves driving down the road, and they get people to watch them for whatever reason. I guess look at me, I'm on the storm, and you know, people seemingly got pretty good at, you know, telling who would actually have good stuff. But you know, there was a point, really in 2012, I guess, but I continued to stream through 2013, and I think the Moore tornado was probably one of the last things I streamed live. But you know, I've just not had the patience to deal with it. I don't care to use the data, and you know, honestly, I don't give a shit if people can see what I'm looking at right now or not. You know, they can wait. If I think it's really cool, and I may take a picture of it and put it online, you know, watermark it, put it online, or you know, they can wait later till my video, or they can watch everybody else's video and you know, Facebook pictures, because everything that's cool goes on Facebook in 30 seconds anyways. So
I will say there is one other downside to streaming that I found happened to me several times last season, which is why I did not stream at all this season, and that is we would have situations where we would be sitting somewhere at a gas station getting gas, going through a fast food restaurant, and all of a sudden someone would approach us and ask us, "Hey, are you Bart Comstock?" or hey, are you my chase partner? And they would have driven. One case, we were in Texarkana. A guy drove all the way from Austin, Texas, following us on the TVN map, found us at the gas station we were at, and asked if he could follow us around chasing that day. And that day happened to be a high risk. It was going to be in a very bad chase terrain. And you have a lot of yahoos that are using these streaming apps to figure out where storm chasers are and to follow them. And that's something that really erodes any little benefit that's left over from streaming outside of revenue. You lose it when you start having issues like that where people are hunting you down, that are following you around, that potentially could obstruct the road if you need to evacuate out of there, and are just contributing to the adding of more people on the road, more idiots that don't know what they're doing, they're taking bigger risks. And honestly, I think it would be cool, and that's almost why it's a benefit that if we do stream on YouTube, it doesn't give away our location, because at that point, we could, yes, have streams up, but hopefully then turn around and eliminate the people that are following us by position only. And that's also, people do that with SpotterNet and other things, but if we can just take away one more element of that, it would be nice.
That happened to me too. I was sitting at a gas station in Nebraska, and somebody drove up, and they actually lived in the town like a mile away, and they're like, hey, we were watching your stream, saw you were sitting at the Casey's on whatever street I was on, and they drove over and said hi. They didn't want to follow us or nothing, but I was sitting there in the gas station, the stream was running, and they saw that I was in their town. They came over to say hi. I was like, well, okay,
kind of weird.
Kind of cool, but yeah. Like, hi, here's my business card, buy a DVD or get out.
Yeah.
So, no, that's totally another aspect of it. So maybe you're right. The location thing not being there is probably a good thing. If the National Weather Service, they can always find us on Spotter Network.
Or they can call us.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of TV stations out there or whatever. Oh, I mean, you have NWS chat now too. You can tell them where you're at and link them to the video. But I mean, they know where we're at. They know.
They have a pretty good idea.
They know. Yeah.
There's enough of them that are involved with the chaser community enough they can figure it out ahead of time. Oh, hey, Ben, I guess is going to be in my area today. I'll keep in contact with him if we need eyes on the ground.
Oh.
Yeah, and another thing, you guys threw up Spotter Network. I'm still getting phone calls from random ass people, especially when I'm.
Take your number off.
I didn't know if you could without if the weather service needed to call you.
Yeah, you can. There's a.
Switch over to the screen share so we.
Yeah, here I'll show you here. I don't know how much of this I can actually show, but whatever. So here I've got the screen share up, and if you go to position settings down here, or contact information, that's where it is. This contact information link right here. So you've got the first set, which is general public, and then you've got the second set down here. Okay. And put your phone number in there. I've got my ham call sign, I got my email address, my NWS chat name, Twitter name, and then on my public side, I just have Twitter and my website and my email address. So.
I always love it when you get those random ass phone calls that are like, "Did you know you're near the pink on the radar?" Or "Are you dead yet?" I had that one this year.
Yeah.
No, I had one. It was the day of Elmer.
Yeah.
I thought I had left my icon off. I guess I didn't. And I just got this phone call from it said on my phone Indiana. I was like, well, there's no way I'm answering that. So I let it go. And it went to voicemail, and then I listened to the voicemail later, and he's like, yeah, this is so-and-so from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was watching the radar, and I saw your icon, and I noticed you're really close to that circulation. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking? Why are you even calling anybody for that? But, duh, I know where I'm at. I can see the tornado from my eyes. I mean, I understand people will get concerned, but at the same time, it's really not your place to call someone and see if they're okay, especially if they're in the hook, if they're in the bear's cage. You don't want to call them. That's one distraction that that I don't need. So
you're taking them away from their situational awareness that they're building by having them then go look at a phone and figure out who's calling them.
Yeah, because if it was like a Oklahoma number or something like that, I would expect it to probably be like maybe emergency manager or NWS. That's the only reason why I have my phone number up is because they've told me here at this weather office. They said, yeah, we get reports like some really wonky reports sometimes, and that's why we call you to confirm, these wonky reports to see if they're real or not. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the weather service calling me up and wanting me to do that. I also had like some random internet weather company. I don't even know what it was called, and it was May 15th. It was in Colorado. They're asking me if the storm was still, producing tornadoes. I'm like, I haven't seen a tornado in like 2 hours, so I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, okay. So I didn't know that. I didn't know that you can have a separate section away from the general public. I think
Yeah.
at one time, a long time ago, it was just the one section, and I think that's why I put my number on because it wasn't separated. But I'll have to do that because yeah, it gets annoying as hell.
Summer.
Real quick, how far are we on? Okay, we've been on for 2 hours, so
Yeah. We should probably
let's
wrap it up here soon.
yeah, let's call this a night.
In the fridge, I need to eat.
Yeah, Ben, where can everyone find you on your social media or whatever?
WX8BEN on Twitter. Ben Holcomb Storm Chasing on Facebook, and then okchaser.com.
All right, how about you, Bart?
You can find me on YouTube /The Tornado Chaser. It's all one word. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/SVRWX Chaser. That's short for Severe Weather Chaser. And on Twitter, my handle is SVRWX Chaser. It's the same thing.
And my YouTube is actually youtube.com/Ben Holcomb, which is very nice. I don't know if they did that for any of you guys, but I got a nice little URL for YouTube.
I've got the money to finish getting that set up, but right now the Tornado Chaser still works.
It's funny they didn't do that with my personal account, but they did it for the show. So I'm sure I'm gonna switch the show over to the Ghost Train. So that'll be a little easier to find the YouTube channel. Adam, where can everyone find your?
Right there. Go there first, and you can find everything else is all linked from there. Facebook, Twitter, or not. Well, that is the Facebook, but the YouTube, my website, Twitter, everything is linked from right there. That's the easiest thing to go. And I've got my dinner set right here.
Cheese balls.
Big
You're
ass
missing a crucial part.
egg of cheese balls.
Go with that.
It's in the fridge, chilling.
Okay.
I like money.
I like money. We should hang out.
Extra big ass cheese balls.
Tacos. Now with more molecules.
What are electrolytes?
It's what they used to make Brondo. But why do they use it? Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
Oh man, you guys are nuts. All three of you guys need to come on my show again.
We don't get all the discussions get derailed.
Yeah.
Maybe after I fix my laptop, I can actually have my own screen and be important. Right.
Maybe you can be important. We'll see.
By the way, it's been very hard to keep from busting up laughing because of your icon down there this whole time.
I love that thing. Oh yeah. So you can find me. That's my Twitter handle, the TXWX Chaser, the TXWXChaser.com. I just opened an account with Fine Art America, so I'm sure you can find me there if you want to look at my pictures I'm going to sell. That probably won't sell, but anyway.
It won't.
You can also find me on Facebook. I mean, I'm on Facebook now. You can add me. I don't care. I'm not too selective. So, also on the show, you can find. I had the Twitter handle for the show on the whole time here at TDT_show. You can also find it on Facebook. We did hit 500 likes, which is awesome. So we're starting to gain some popularity and hopefully keep spreading like wildfire or herpes, whatever.
AIDS.
Adam, I not to interrupt, but I think I found why your page is virus.
Oh, that's good. That's why I didn't give away my web address right now, because there's some spywares on there.
It's manlove69, right? .com. Backdoorbandits.com. I can't remember. It's one of those two.
69, 69.
69. That's
You
right.
need two 69s to handle this.
All right. Well, we'll end the suffering for the viewers, and we'll go ahead and end the show for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if I'll do another show for another couple weeks, just because I am leaving Saturday. I'm leaving for Tulsa, and I won't be back until probably the following Saturday night.
Coming all the way to Tulsa, and you're not going to make the extra 2 hours to come see us in the Oklahoma City area? I'm kind of hurt by that.
Yeah, no. No, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the schedule is. I got to go meet Laney.
You got to go through here to get up there.
Yeah, I mean, I might be able to stop by. We can do some lunch or something.
Yeah.
So, we'll go down in Bricktown and get a little too drunk before we get up to Tulsa.
I'm excited on your
Oh, yeah, we
face,
just need to stop this before Bart gets out of control here.
Yeah, he's already there. So, but anyway, yeah, I probably won't do a show. I'm just gonna say that now. What I am gonna try to do though for the fans, I've been thinking about this. I might compile like a best of episode, just kind of the funniest moments we've had so far. Put them all in a video. Just let it upload sometime during the week I'm gone. So I'll make an announcement on Facebook on that, as well as Twitter, and we'll see how that goes. But it may not be like a 30-minute video, but that should be enough for you guys to handle. And
you know what you also need to do is look at the tornado numbers this year and see how everyone's doing.
That's right. I don't even know where we're at.
Craig Merritt won.
I think we're somewhere around 800.
Yeah, and we're
which
getting
is a
pretty
good
close.
recovery considering how slow it started out.
That's still if it were to end now, I think Ashley would win. She had
Sorry, but
999.
Ashley can't win anything.
Oh, snap.
Well, she might win this contest if we don't get any more tornadoes. So you better start hoping.
All right. Come on, tornadoes.
I'm in a solid 20s right now. I don't know where everyone else is.
Yeah, I'm at 21, so it's been a good year. And just real quick, I'm glad I got to scratch off Montana and South Dakota finally from my list of tornado states. So that's kind of cool. Hopefully, do North Dakota next week or something.
It's a state that I have yet to visit. I've been to every. By the end of next month, I'll have been to all the Canadian states, but I will not have been to North Dakota.
Son of a bitch.
It's overrated. Anyway, so let's go ahead and end the show. Thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoy the show, and let me know any comments on the Facebook page or my personal Facebook page. I don't care. Whatever. Just let me know how you like the show, and we'll see you guys next time. Y'all have a good night, and stay safe.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Later.